Happy New Year and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we return to Cybertron as we review the last two episodes of Transformers EarthSpark. Today is Friday, January 2nd, 2026, and this is episode 475 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that dares to ask if the Starscream Mandroid celebrity couple name should be Star Droid or Manscream. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hi. Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to support us and keep the show going. We really appreciate it. We're going into another year. It's 2026 for everyone watching and listening to this. It's still 2025 for us because we're recording this in the past, but you know, that's how time travel works. So
don't we always record in the past?
Mm-hmm. I was going to say every recording is in the past.
That is true, but they're not usually a year apart. This is a year apart, so it's extra in the past. But if you're not a Donatron and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. You get lots of perks, getting to watch the show live, getting bonus content, like the bonus uncut versions of our Transformers live play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. And this week was the bonus uncut version of episode 152, The Holy Order of Door Exploders. And that's available for all our Donatreons right now. The regular episode comes out a week later, but this is coming out on Friday, so you'll have access to the regular version on January 5th, next Monday. So not too long to wait. So you can get that at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. So all the regular Empire of Rust listeners will get that episode very quickly. So, but if you're a Donatron, you get extra bonus content a week early every time. So we also usually do a Toy Hacks promo code. We don't have the January code yet as of this recording, but we will have it next week when we actually do our first real recording of 2026. So stay tuned for that, but please go to toyhacks.com and take advantage of our code when we get it out to you, and enjoy getting some stickers, cool decals for your Transformers figures. All right, let's get into the show. We've got a review to talk about. All right, so for this episode, we're going to review the last two episodes of Transformers EarthSpark. So this caps off the end of the series. This was, I guess, technically season 4, but it consisted of only 2 episodes. The first one was 45 minutes, and the second one was an hour. So, you know, given that the EarthSpark episodes were usually a half hour, this, I guess, depending on how you count it, this could be like 4 or 5 episodes for this season. So, you know, but it was, you know, chunked into these 2 kind of mini movies here. So,
I mean, it's a tradition going back to G1, right?
Yeah. Get a final, very short season to cap off the series, you know. So, so these 2 episodes were Hometown Heroes and Legacy of Hope. And they were basically one continuous story. The end of the first episode flowed right into the second episode. So the first episode was very focused on the Earth, the Earth Terran bots and the Malto family. And then the second episode was more, Transformers focused and kind of, all the classic character focus and brought in a lot of, old school Transformers lore, particularly with the introduction of Liege Maximo as the new villain. for this last episode. So it was interesting that they brought we had no foreshadowing of Legion Maximo before this, but he got in at the very last second. He got in to be the big bad at the very end of the series. So I should have mentioned this is a spoiler-filled review, so we're gonna do full spoilers for Transformers EarthSpark. So if you haven't seen Transformers EarthSpark, these 2 episodes before, you might want to go check them out before you watch or listen to this video. But we are gonna talk all about what happened in these episodes and all the good stuff. So let's get right into it. So starting off with the first episode, Hometown Heroes. And it's interesting. I don't know what the what the progression or the time lapse is between the first season of EarthSpark and season 4. I mean, maybe it is like a couple of years or something, because basically the Malto kids have become teenagers at this point, whereas in the first season they were definitely this sister was pretty young, like she seemed
in
like
elementary school.
Yeah. And Robby was I would say a preteen, 10 or 11 or something like that. But in this episode they seem at least Robby seems like he's on the cusp of being a teenager or in high school already, and then and I keep forgetting the Mo. Yeah, Mo. She seems like she's now a preteen, and she's she's aged up a little bit. So
she did have a comment in this episode. It was like when he seeing how he was acting. She was like, "I hope when I'm his age, I don't act like that," or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think she is not he's probably 7th or 8th grade age, and she's a couple years younger, I think.
Yeah. So let's and I'm not going to give a full summary here. Well, maybe we could just talk about some of the things we liked and didn't like about these episodes. For Hometown Heroes, I did like the addition of and the addressing of the death of the villain from the first episode. Was Agent what was her? I'm blanking on these names here. It was Agent Schloter's sister. I forget what her name was.
Olive. No, that's
the daughter.
That's the daughter.
Yeah.
Agent. Oh.
I have no idea.
Wiki, you're my only hope.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm looking. I can't find it.
Let's see.
Karen Croft.
Agent Croft. Yeah. So there you go. We did it, everyone.
So did they kill her off, or did the voice actress pass away?
No.
They
Carrie Walgreen was the
off.
actress.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, she's still alive. She's still kicking around.
Yeah, she's doing a million different voice projects.
Yeah.
But no,
Daryl, she's like our age.
That doesn't mean anything. Well, we're old bastards now.
But no, that was a big plot point at the end of season 1, where Agent Croft was killed off on screen, like she was disintegrated on screen by Mandroid. So it was a big deal. I mean, at least for a kids show, usually they don't kill off characters like blatantly like that on a kids show, and they definitely killed her.
Do you know what show you're talking about here? You know what brand you're talking about? It's why we're still talking about this thing, is because they killed off characters in front of us.
That was in the movies. That was not on TV.
This is a movie.
They did it in the movies. Not really. Transformers the movie was not an episode of the TV show. In the TV show, they never really killed off characters. Even in season 3 and season 4, they didn't really kill off characters in G1. Mm-hmm. So it's still a big deal. I mean, and you remember back in the 80s, they couldn't even say the word die on 80s cartoons. They were like, you had to say like they went on a farm somewhere. I looked at like a Voltron retrospective. They talked about how like the original Voltron anime, they killed characters off in several times, and then when they dubbed it in English, they like just said they went to a medical facility or went on, you know.
The original Japanese Go Lion episodes was brutal.
Yeah. So I mean, at least in 2023 or whenever that episode premiered, having this character be killed off in a pretty, kind of gruesome way was really surprising. And I like the fact that this episode actually addressed that she had a daughter that we didn't know about before. So like you're dealing with the grief of that. And then we did know that the Agent Schloter was her brother. So the fact that he's, he had to take care of his niece, and he couldn't, he was dealing with his own grief. So he didn't even really tell her what really happened. So that allowed Mandroid to manipulate her and get her to, to believe his lies that her mother was still alive and that the Maltos were hiding her from.
I kind of liked how they handled that, where like he explains that he had just said that she was gone, but never went into it. And then, finally like addressed it so she could come to terms with it. And I think for kids that watch this, it's kind of a good thing for them to hear that death is a part of life. So,
yeah. I mean, and also like, it's pretty brutal how she, she didn't get to, like, her last words to her mom was an argument. So she felt a lot of guilt and that she couldn't really have any closure with her mom and everything. So it's pretty heavy stuff for wrapping up this show. So I thought that was pretty, interesting that they had those kind of mature themes sparsed in with the other stuff here. I did like the introduction of Hot Rod. I thought that was cool that they brought in Hot Rod. He was very like this felt very much like the kind of aged up Rodimus Hot Rod, like from IDW. I felt like IDW's influence was in here a little bit, like not the goofiness or jokiness, but the kind of more like had seen a lot of things, not the youthful exuberance of the Hot Rod we see from Transformers the movie, where he's kind of fresh out the gate, and this is a Hot Rod who's like had a lot of time and experience and a lot of tragedy. It seemed like, because even when Optimus Prime greets him, Optimus tries to go in for a hug, and Hot Rod's like, no, a hearty handshake is fine. I don't feel that emotional towards you. So it was interesting. And
the voice threw me. But in my mind, I don't like when I see like Hot Rod on comic page or something. I don't hear a deep voice like that. It's always more of a Judd Nelson or that timbre. And it threw me off. But then as I saw what happened in the next episode, it kind of made it make sense, or it worked more for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what did you guys think? Light or just general likes, and then we'll get into dislikes too. But Daryl, what did you think?
Well, so I hadn't watched season 2 or 3. So jumping into season 4 was, not that this was a real story-driven show, more of like a Monster of the Week kind of thing with a underlining, B plot. But I feel like I was capable of picking up the plot threads, by just grabbing the movie. And I could, because I had seen the first few episodes of season 1, so I knew the characters. But I did like the idea of the story beats for Hometown Heroes, where the Malto kids were kind of in their own mind. They were, for lack of a better words, they were the shit. And the town really didn't like them at all because of the, either the damage that they left behind them or the stuff that they caused. They mentioned something that obviously had happened in a previous season about a dome that cut off a business. This was for someone's business, and it obviously it bankrupted the business. So obviously there's things that they do that they don't really realize are affecting people, and they have real world effect on them. But that was an interesting kind of way to look at it. I can't imagine many kids picking up on that, but it was a nice plot thread to kind of put in there. The bully stuff, I'm trying to watch this through the eyes of a kid. So the two bullies in the episode were obviously the girl had her reasons for doing it. I think the boy's reasons, obviously his reasons were because of the business being
his dad
shut
owned
down.
the business.
Yeah, but I think he was also into the girl. So he's got his other reasons too.
I mean, if you were that,
we've all been there. We've all been there. Exactly. Come on. But he had a pretty sweet ride too. So, she knew what she was doing. But I'm trying to think of that through the eyes of a kid, where these two teenagers, definite teenagers, are stalking this kid, right? Every single day. That's terrifying, regardless of whether you have superpowers or not, right? And so that would absolutely be terrifying. And I think that at some point in time, this kid would have probably told his parents. He probably would have been too proud to tell a teacher or something like that, but he should have been able to tell a parent or something like that. Somebody who knows his situation and can relate. These kids are messing with me. They're stalking me, kind of thing. So I felt like it was a little exaggerated, which is fine. It's TV, but it's that type of bullying would have been absolutely terrifying for anybody to go through. So, and I have no doubt that there are kids out there who are bullied daily, and it's absolutely terrifying to go to school. The mom character is overreacting to because their kids got superpowers, kind of thing. General kind of overreaction to that. I thought that was a typical kind of cartoon kind of mom reaction. But she's been a big powerhouse through the series, I assume, because she was pretty prominent in the first season. When it got to the story beat about the the mountain and stuff like that, I liked the fact that they seem to have this. It was Mandroid had this goo that kind of rebuilt shit. And I like that. That was kind of cool. I don't know what exactly that was, whether that's explained in a previous season, but it didn't seem to have any kind of explanation. Just take this goo, dump it on the space bridge, and it rebuilt it. And I don't know what that goo is, but it was pretty cool, and it would be neat to know what exactly that was. But I'll tell you, my most impressive thing about that entire episode was Optimus Prime's trailer. He pulled a minigun out of his trailer and started absolutely wrecking the Mandroid bots or the spider bots or whatever the hell they were that were crawling up the mountain. And I thought, damn, yeah, it's not just a repair bay. It's like a jackknife for him. He can get whatever he needs out of there. And in this time of need, he needs a minigun. And he just gets on the back of that trailer, and he's got his little platform gun. And it was, I was pretty impressed by that. I was like, damn, that trailer needs to be exactly what he needs. So yeah,
the trailer
I thought that was cool. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, the episode obviously ends on a cliffhanger. Exactly a cliffhanger. But yeah, it was. I'll leave it at that, just because we're going to go into the next episode. But I'll let Jeremy kind of talk about Hometown Heroes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeremy.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it too. I out of the two, I think I enjoyed the second one a little bit more, but
Same.
I thought that a lot of the things that you guys brought up, I agree with. What a kid not thinking of collateral damage whenever they're doing thing. I mean, that is on point as the parent of an 11-year-old. They are all about themselves and what they're doing. They don't care about anything else. And if a kid had superpowers, they would be acting just like Robby was acting. So I think that was on point. The bullying, I think, was... I can't remember if I have seen bullying that blatant, and like visceral in a cartoon. If I have, it's been a long time, or it's been like a more mature cartoon, not one meant for kids. And it gets the point across, though. And the parents, like, not believing, Robby because he has powers and he should know better. All of it seemed logical in how everyone was acting. And of course, the girl was playing it up, acting like, oh, I don't think I can go outside anymore and stuff. I'm scared. And then, like, as they're leaving, she's like, oh no, I'm going to go, with him. We're going to go study. When they were going to go to the thing. I mean, I'm like, there's a little logical in, I don't know. If you're paying attention as an adult, you'd be like, wait, what? But, it makes sense to move the story along.
Yep.
But I enjoyed it. I also really, I've only seen season 1 and a little bit of season 2. So I'm like Daryl, just kind of coming into this with the basic concepts of the show, and having Mandroid be kind of the main bad guy of this episode really helped as well. Cause I'm like, I recognize Mandroid. But I feel like that it really worked well. And then the mind control thing at Starscream was also fun.
I completely left that out.
Getting to hear Steve Bloom as Starscream is always a treat. And the little interactions between Starscream when he was in control of himself and Megatron, that was fun too. So
I like Megatron saying, we'll free you even if we have to destroy you.
But yeah, and then he's like pummeling Starscream, and I can't remember if it was a Twitch or one of the Terrans was like something like, did you mean that literally? He's like, maybe, or something. It's like he is not feeling any pain in destroying Starscream. So anyway, I enjoyed the episode. I think if you haven't seen any of the show, I think you can still just go in and watch it cold, and you'll pick up the concepts pretty quickly. And then, like I mentioned earlier with Hot Rod, seeing him was great, and then hearing him, I'm like, wait, and it took me a little bit. to for the voice to work with, but it was fine. So yeah, I think this was a good episode, but the next one is really where I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also liked that they had like Twitch and Thrash having a little bit of a conflict, like Twitch being like having a crisis, I guess, since I mean, I have seen all the episodes, but it's been a little while. But I do know that the reason they had this dome around the town was because like the previous lore was that their powers were related to Quintus Prime, and Quintus Prime had a Titan who was buried underneath the town, and then the Decepticons like got control of the Titan, so they had to like and they were like her energy was like doing weird stuff, so they had to put like this big dome around it to contain it for a little while. And so that was like the plot of, I think it was season 2 or season 3, and by the end of season 3 they had like gotten rid of all this energy, and like because the Quintessons had come and they had to fight off the Quintessons, and then once that was all resolved, then the dome was released. But yeah, but all that stuff was like, all that big stuff takes place, and then you've got collateral damage that the kids don't really pay attention to, because you're doing all these big things of world saving Transformer stuff, so they didn't really take stock of what's happening on the ground with all the regular people. So, but I guess going to dislikes, I mean, and it's just my just like looking at it as an adult, where like working for a company and looking at like security practices, and like this is supposed to be like a super secret organization, and it's been like in the show it's clearly been like several years since Agent Croft died, and they never deactivated her badge.
Yeah. I mean, that should be an automated process.
I mean, so that was a little funky. And then Mandroid, he's in this super secret cell, and he still has access to the internet. That's also was like, I needed a little bit more explanation to make that work. That seemed like having Mandroid be able to message Olive and basically trick her into letting him out. I mean, if he can access the internet, he can probably deactivate his cell. But I mean, those are nitpicks, but otherwise, I guess it's fine. But I mean, I think in general, I liked that this was this kind of resolved all the Earth-based kind of plot points. But it didn't really have a lot for the Transformers to do. Like I guess the Terran Transformers were big here, but like all the Autobots and Decepticons, or even, I mean, it was only really Megatron that came in at the very end to to help with the final fight. But everything else was kind of not really focused. Of course, the next episode focuses heavily on that, but that's it. Daryl, any major dislikes for you?
I mean, like I said, I've not been paying attention to this show over the course of its duration, but I'm not fond of Megatron's characterization. Just, I know what he was, how he was written for More Than Meets the Eye in the comics, and that worked out well, but there was still a glimmer of like evil there. This one, he just like, I don't know, he seemed to be in more of a bad mood more than anything. But there was always that, like, he basically just sounded like Optimus Prime in a bad mood. Where, I don't know, I need him to be like almost either be maniacal and evil, or be an, like, like, I don't know, like really not aggressively not trying to not be good. Like, so like he wants to be good, but he's really trying to like in his heart of hearts trying to not be good.
Being good is a struggle.
It's really difficult. Yeah. So that's kind of where I want to see Megatron. But I mean, this is fine. This is a change up, and it's always good to have change. It didn't work for me. Other than that, I just didn't find the I wasn't really into this show. It's definitely aimed at a younger audience, and it just wasn't. The show wasn't for me. So, but I agree with Jeremy that the next episode is definitely gave us a lot more for us older fans.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy. Any dislikes before we move on to the next show?
Some of the dialogue, it was, even with the episodes I've seen, it was just corny. But I mean, like you said, Earl, it's meant for a younger audience, and I understand that. It just coming from reading, like Skybound and then the IDW comics, the dialogue was on a whole different level, but it's fine. I don't know. I thought the animation was pretty good. I think there were some things about the animation in the next episode I'm going to bring up, but for here I thought it was good. And I don't remember if they did this in earlier seasons, but like explosions and smoke actually had more of a 2D look to it, and I thought that was really cool.
I specifically remember mentioning that when we reviewed the first few episodes. So they've been doing that since the very beginning, and I remember pointing that out and saying that was something that I liked. It made it stand out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, not really a lot that I didn't like. Maybe just tone down the bullying a little bit. It seemed like it went to the point of cruelty. I mean, I know that was the point, but I'm wondering what parents of kids of the target demographic would say, like how their kids would react.
You are that person.
My kid is not interested in this. If it's not Minecraft, he's not interested.
I'll add that I did feel a couple times that the show kind of like scenes dragged on for longer than I think they should have. Mm-hmm. It's like they were padding out the length of the show, just because like this one's obviously shorter than the other one by like 18 minutes, right? And I feel like they were trying to get it to a point where this was like they knew that the second half was going to go to Cybertron, and they had a lot to tell in that second half, but the first half was wrapping up way too quickly. So I feel like they were really trying to stretch out that Earth side of the show, right? Yeah. So there were scenes in like the street when Robby and the bullies were having their standoff, that I was like, this should be resolved by now. Like there's either too much dialogue or there's too much and there's there's nothing happening here that can't be solved in a quick little like a quick little exchange and then an action piece, right? So yeah. I feel like they were dragging out a few scenes that could have been wrapped up much quicker.
Yeah, and it was kind of the opposite of what we normally see for kids shows. It's like quick, and this did have a lot more lulls in the action, and I agree with you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, well let's go over to the next episode, Legacy of Hope. And this is the final episode of Transformers EarthSpark. They do go to Cybertron, and Cybertron has seen better days. So it starts off, of course, the very end of the last episode. Hot Rod, asks for the Autobots to come help because they've the Decepticons. So that was the other thing. In the previous season, the end of the season, the Decepticons had escaped in a shuttle. Prowl actually had came to Earth. He had a shuttle, and the Decepticons stole it and went back to Cybertron. So I guess they got there and were causing havoc. So Hot Rod's like, "Hey, I need help," and then he took Optimus Prime and a bunch of other Autobots with him. But then he comes back and he's like, "I need your Ember Stone. Give it to me." And the Malto kids are like, "What?" And he takes it, and then he leaves, and so they follow him through the space bridge. Of course, all the other Maltos and other Autobots and Megatron are left. They follow to catch up with with Robby and Mo, and of course that starts off this second episode here. So this is the big kind of. We get introduced to Liege Maximo. We get introduced to what's going on in Cybertron, and there's lots of, we have lots of lore with all the Prime artifacts and lots of big stuff going on. So, yeah, I think it was interesting, like how much stuff they threw into this episode, and how many callbacks were to like G1 and other comics and other stuff that even like hasn't even been published to kind of tie this into to Transformers lore. So maybe we can talk about what we liked and didn't like about this episode, and I'll start off with that. Is that what I really liked was how much kind of Transformers lore they packed into this show. I mean, just from the visuals, like we have the space bridge, like the on the Earth side, the space bridge is just this kind of purple portal. But when they come to Cybertron, it's the G1 space bridge. It's the, where in the G1 where you have the scene where the kind of energy crackles from the sky and then the person materializes and then the little gate opens up. It was just like that from the G1 episode Transport to Oblivion. They kind of captured that perfectly. They gave Robby and Mo exosuits from Transformers the movie that look really nice. Look very much like the Transformers the movie versions. We had Liege Maximo, who is this, originally showed up in the Transformers Generation 2 comic, and he was the kind of the big reveal villain at the end of that comic, and he didn't really get to do anything in that comic. He's been later kind of retconned as one of the 13 Primes, and that's why he shows up here. But they took a lot of his, like, the stuff he was doing in the G2 comic, and then there was this this kind of non-canon story that Simon Furman wrote for a UK convention in the late 90s. It was called Alignment, and it was basically the continuation of the Transformers Generation 2 comic book, and basically like he resolved the plot threads he left open in the G2 comic, and that was where like Liege Maximo's plan was revealed about what he was going to do with all the like Cybertronian worlds he was terraforming in that comic. And basically they took that idea and put it in here as the plot point for this episode, where he was connecting all these worlds together, and then that was going to allow him to rule all over the galaxy. That was basically what that story was. And this was, as I said, this was not a Hasbro produced thing. This was something that was produced for a convention, but just was written by Simon Furman. So, the fact that they took this idea and put it into this story was kind of cool. And, something that was a neat callback.
Was Simon part of, was he credited in the writing?
No.
I didn't see, no, I don't think so. But
interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, I can guess that I would guess that Nick Roche at least probably said, "Hey, there's this idea here," and I mean, the wiki is open to everyone, so ideas.
Unfortunately, the wiki for these episodes is empty.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, whoever's in charge of the EarthSpark wiki pages hasn't had a chance to update it yet at the time. Maybe by the time this episode goes up, it'll be filled in, but Right now, we don't have any additional information, but you can look up if you look up alignment in the Transformers wiki, that has the G2 story that Simon Furman wrote, and that is the that kind of caps off the original Liege Maximo's story from the 90s. So it was it was published at Transforce 2001, which is kind of the precursor to TF Nation. This was a UK convention before Auto Assembly and before TF Nation. This was this Transforce convention. So yeah, so I liked all the Prime artifacts. Like they don't even really give the names of most of the artifacts that Liege Maximo uses, but you can see like he has the Requiem Blaster, which is Megatronus's artifact. He's got the Blades of Time, which they do mention. He's got the Star Saber. He's got the darts that he uses.
Combination.
The Enigma of Combination as well. He's got that weird mask that he uses to like mind control Robby. I think that's the triptych mask. I think that was Onyx Prime's artifact. So it was interesting how apparently off screen Liege Maximo went and hunted down all the other primes and stole their artifacts. So that was just interesting that they kind of just threw away that, this Liege Maximo basically murdered all the other primes. And then, he of course he needed the Matrix. And I liked how he keeps thinking like the Matrix is some kind of weapon, and everyone keeps saying the Matrix doesn't work that way. I like that throughout the episode they kept saying, the Matrix is not like it's a MacGuffin, but it's not a MacGuffin that gives you mind control powers. It's just, it's inspirational. It doesn't actually, do anything crazy to people. So
yeah. Unless there's a rust plague, then
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I like the fact that this was kind of a big Transformers focused lore dub, and the characters, of course, too. Like we got all the Decepticon characters who've been throughout the show back. We got a couple of new characters. We got Scorponok, which is cool that we had like a G1-esque Scorponok, and we had and then the craziest addition on the Decepticon side was Octopunch. Like why Octopunch, this weird pretender that's like Transformer character who looks very weird, did not transform in anything because he's really emulating his pretender shell. It was just very, very funny to see this character just showing up on the Decepticon side for really no reason at all. Just
it was a character they could add that they didn't have to have a voice actor for.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think Nick Roche also, has a soft spot for Octopunch because he talked about like
Octopunch did have a voice though.
Oh, he did. He
yep.
It was like
when he passed out. Yep, exactly. When he passed out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so that I think that's that covers everything I liked. I'll let you guys talk. So go ahead, Daryl.
So, in this one here, this is, admittedly, I watched both of these back to back, and it was pretty late when I got into this one, and I fell asleep during the end of this one. So I've been trying to watch this one as we go through here, but you'll have to correct me or tell me if there was a reason. But this show, right off the bat, gives you sparkless bots that are basically zombies. And I have yet to see, and this is what I want you to tell me, the reason for them. Why do they exist? Is this in a previous season, or there's just zombies running around Cybertron for some reason?
Yeah, but I think it was Bumblebee that mentioned they've never acted like this before. So apparently they've been there. I don't know.
Okay. They had some kind of like mold or something on their face.
Yeah. This is like Liege Maximo. Like Liege Maximo also has had no mention in previous EarthSpark seasons or episodes. So Yeah, this is completely new for this last episode. I think the implication is just that Cybertron's been so drained of energy that there are a lot of dead bots around, but they're somehow still animated with with having no
Okay.
sparks.
So that's
And
a
that's it.
question that I had. I mean, I'm just like, what causes this? Like, that's just something that I was like, there's got to be a reason. They just act like they're normal, and we just got to avoid these, sparkless bots. Okay. The, so it started in the first episode and it progressed into this one. The fight between Twitch and Thrash, kind of the sibling rivalry that's going on between like who's better or who's the better leader, I guess it is, kind of escalates in this episode, and they break off into two factions and then go their separate ways to accomplish the same goal, but one thinks they're better at it than the other. And I kind of like that because you obviously get to explore more of Cybertron with two teams, and it's easier to accomplish the goal if you separate and spread your forces around. That also worked for a little bit of comedy. Again, the show's made for younger kids, so the comedy's not great, but it works. The introduction of the other characters, like we got Mirage, which his powers were basically like multiple man in the for like the X-Men. And so generally, if you're a G1 fan, his powers are just holograms, right? Well, actually, his powers aren't holograms. That's Hound's powers. But Mirage's powers are like to make himself invisible. But this one here, he's basically multiple man, so he just makes duplicates of himself all over the place, which he can interact with. Like he can hit you with a duplicate, which is crazy. So so that's an interesting kind of like update on his power set. I did like Hot Rod's alt mode. I thought that was kick ass. I was also thrown by his voice. It definitely, like, it was way too low for me. I was trying to figure out, and I still am as I'm going through this, whether or not Hot Rod and Soundwave and the rest of the Decepticons on Liege Maximo's side were mind controlled of some way. It seems like they're not. They're just kind of brainwashed.
I don't even think they're brainwashed. I think he lied to them and told them that the EarthSpark was destroyed by Optimus, and he had a supply of Energon, so
he's lying to them, right? So
yeah, it wasn't really brainwashing.
Well, if you
he
lie
manipulated
to
them.
Enough,
Yeah, manipulation.
Yeah. Isn't that its form of brainwashing? Is just tell them what they want to hear and they believe them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He lied to them, and so yeah. So I thought they, in the first episode when we first get introduced to Hot Rod again, I thought it was I thought he was mind controlled, but turns out it doesn't seem like he is, which is good, I guess. He can make his own decisions. The it was the Liege Maximo character was I think it could have been really anybody, but they needed somebody like really evil to be stationed on Cybertron. I think previous shows have done this. It's been Shockwave or somebody like that that's just been kind of, been lording over Cybertron and kind of doing what they need to do to get shit done on Cybertron and kind of running the Decepticons. But Liege Maximo's as good as any, and it's a nice name that old fans and fans of the comics and lore that we can recognize and be like, oh shit, they pulled Liege Maximo out of the closet, so that's cool. The character design was awesome. I think it looked great. The wings on the side of his head are part of his character design, and that's it looked really cool as well. And any character with a cape is just kick ass, so he looked awesome. Yeah. The first half of the episode is severely lacking Megatron. So I think he gets kind of like drained of his power by a they get kind of like they walk into some kind of chamber that drains them all, and I think he kind of gets stuck there. Like I said, I'm trying to catch up on the episode as we go through this, but
it was like all of the Cybertronians were being drained.
Yeah,
and the Terrans were unaffected.
It was the AllSpark was basically turned from blow to suck, and it was sucking all the energy out of everyone on the planet.
Right. So, but I agree that I really like all the other characters that you kind of see. Like, you see a few Stunticons in there. You see, I loved the addition of Octopunch. I thought that was hilarious. Just this random guy with the tentacles running around. And yeah, I thought, and I'm trying to remember anybody else. But obviously Soundwave was there. Yeah, and it was cool. I think Shockwave bit it in the early part of the episode. I think he got crushed by a giant cable of some kind.
But he survived. He was at the end.
Oh, did he?
At the very end, he was the one who, like, when the AllSpark was turned back on and everyone like felt the energy coming back, he was the one who shot Liege Maximo when all the other Decepticons left. And he was like,
Spoilers.
You told us
got there yet.
That's your own fault. We said it was a spoiler filled podcast.
That's true. Okay, so he survived. Okay, cool. But yeah, I will continue to get through this. I know that at one point Megatron gets a big hole in his chest, but then they think he's dead. And then all of a sudden he comes back to life after he's repaired. I don't know if the delay is there, but I like the fact that he gets his old like personality back and he's a super evil bastard again. They go off chasing him, trying to kind of corral him, to kind of, remind him that he was, he was good. Maybe in EarthSpark season 5, Huh?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
that actually, I'll give Jeremy a chance to go on, but that goes into my dislikes. But let Jeremy.
Yeah, I can agree there. Also, one thing that I thought was neat was right off the bat when they were on Cybertron and you saw some of the little creatures on the ground.
Yeah,
they looked like little Zods from GoBots, the little like dinosaur thing with the wheels without the front wheel. I watched on my phone, so it was a small screen, but that's what they looked like to me. And with Nick Roach as one of the like character designers, it wouldn't surprise me if he threw something like that in. But I enjoyed seeing Cybertron the way it was, like all just torn up, but it wasn't for the normal reasons. It was, after they wrap things up in the end, I'm not going to spoil it for you, Daryl, but it reverts kind of back to, Energon is flowing again. But I thought that it was interesting that the Autobots on Cybertron weren't really aware that Megatron had switched sides, because he just had never returned, and I guess Optimus just doesn't tell people. But like, Mirage was just not believing them at all. Although he had befriended Robby and Mo, and it was like their word to be like, oh, wait, Megatron was actually telling the truth when he said he was on the same side now. But it was neat in that fight, Megatron wasn't really doing any offense. So that was a nice touch there. I feel like a lot of the arguments and stuff between like Robby and Mo and between Twitch and Thrash were carried through here, and they all got resolved. Like Robby realized he didn't need his powers. It was kind of like going through withdrawals from a drug, almost. Like he had been so dependent on having those powers that he forgot who he was without them. And it was neat seeing, you know, Mo kind of helping him realize that he didn't need it. And then in the end, during one of the fights, like, I can't remember what he just has like 2 pieces of metal, and he like uses them to trip a Cybertronian, which I think that would really not work. It would hurt, but whatever. He trips it, and then Mo in the exosuit does a perfect like diamond cutter, stone cold. I can't remember. I can't remember what he called it, but same move. It's just the over the head. It was a wrestling move, and I just thought that was a kind of a neat thing. More wrestling moves than Transformers. But the Liege Maximo stuff was just a lot of fun. Really, all the lore that they threw in there. You got like the Star Saber looked great. I don't know, the Enigma combination. I've never really liked. It's looked different in pretty much everything, but I wasn't as familiar with the time disk thing, but I liked kind of how it worked. And was Bumblebee moved back into his VW looking form? Yeah,
it looked like that. Yeah, it did look like that.
Yeah, so that was fun. I wasn't super happy that they took Megatron back, you know, to being evil, but you got to put the toys back in the box, I guess. But one thing that was neat when they thought he was dead and they were kind of giving him a funeral, they had like some of the flowers reminded me of the flowers from IDW with the dead bots, like on that World in Lost Light. And I thought that was, I think that was intentional there. So yeah, I think lots of really good stuff. They really played up the Terrans and the humans being able to do things because the Cybertronian force fields weren't made with non-Cybertronians in mind. So like a human could walk through. Oh, sorry. And that was like a plot point they carried through towards the end. So yeah, I think just thinking back on the show's getting me choked up. No, but I'll leave it there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, I generally agree with everything you said there, Jeremy. So, getting into my dislikes, one thing, I didn't like the energon becoming like nicotine patches. That was kind of weird. Like, why do they ingest energon now with like these patches that they slap on their arm or their chest or whatever? Like, give me the old school energon cubes or you know, I don't know. I mean,
did they describe those? Because I thought it was just kind of like a quick fix, like an emergency stim pack or something.
I mean, they had those again. These are things they just introduced for these episodes. They had never shown that on the show before. They had never shown them like needing energon like that before. So it was kind of weird. I mean, they had always talked about how the Terrans don't need energon because they're Earth based, but all the Cybertronians do. But it was weird, like these weird patches now that they could just use for energon. So, but my major complaint for this episode was the ending here. Like I actually didn't really like the way they used the blades of time here to basically reset Bumblebee and reset Megatron. I thought like they should have I think they could have left Megatron killed off. Like I thought his sacrifice for the end of the show was a good ending for him. Or they could have given him a happy ending where he's just, like he gets to keep all the character growth he's had throughout the last, 4 seasons of the show and be like the Megatron that has reformed because he made relationships with the humans and that's why he reformed. I mean, it's fine to, if you prefer the kind of the regular evil Megatron, but I thought the fact that they had given him this character arc in the show, I thought they should have let him end with that, that journey, that ending at that journey rather than basically having him reset and then having the ending be, well, we got to get him back somehow. And then they don't even really explain how you can get him back. Like apparently the Blades of Time thing is permanent and you're just stuck the way or however you're left off. Like there's no way to fix that. At least they didn't make it. They
have to have that growth again.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the same with Bumblebee, like Bumblebee having, I mean, it was less dramatic with Bumblebee. And apparently like, since he had all the Autobots around him telling him like, hey, no, here's what the status quo is. So like, you don't need to, reset your thinking or whatever. But I just felt like it was kind of a cop out to basically reset them. And yeah, I would have preferred either like leave them the way they were, or if you're gonna have Megatron sacrifice himself, then kill him off for real and end on that. But that was that's my personal preference. I mean, so it depends on what you thought of the show and whether you liked how Megatron ended up here or not. So I also didn't like how little they explained what was going on with Leech Maximo. Like why did pulling off his horns like make him like implode on himself? They didn't really explain like what his horns did to keep him from like, basically folding in on himself. So it was kind of just weird. Like they say, oh, something's going on with his horn, so target the horns. Like, oh, okay, we'll do that. But then how did that fix everything? I would have liked just a line of exposition to explain why that happened.
Yeah, they were just holding back a black hole.
Apparently.
I mean, the removal of him also retracted all of the stuff coming out of the planet too, right? So
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then also the very end with the dramatic battle where he's like, "Give me the Matrix," and then the team, then Twitch is like, "You're not gonna understand why, but trust me." And she gives him the Matrix, and then that didn't do anything. Like he takes the Matrix and puts it in his chest, but nothing really happens. Like they still just have to fight him and beat him. And then when he's gone, the Matrix just reappears. Everything in his body just reappears on the ground after he's imploded. But
I think giving him the Matrix was just a distraction, knowing that he didn't know how the Matrix worked.
Yeah, I guess. But it didn't really seem clear like that was the strategy. It was just like, I gave him the Matrix.
He was a Fortnite character. He's a Fortnite character, so once you kill him, all his loot just lies there on the ground.
Ah, I see. There you go. I don't play Fortnite, so maybe that was
like in Ready Player One. There's the one character that did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Daryl, what were your dislikes?
Well, I mean, I'll agree with you that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. There's no like exposition to explain why it's happening. Like, where do these tentacles come from the planet? Like, where are they known? There's not a lot of story beats to explain what his plan is, like Leech Maximo's plan is. There's no real story to explain what's happening with Megatron when they repair Optimus's arm and then they repair the giant hole in Megatron's chest, and why it takes like a day to, for Megatron to come back, right? Like, what happens there? Why does it take so long? Is he, just kind of resting or something? What's happening? That would be my biggest
Played
dislike.
the time, like rewound the time, so it took a
Yeah.
day to reset.
That would be my biggest dislike about the whole thing. This episode was in my opinion superior than the first, but it could have done better with the exposition on what's actually happening and why. I have no problem with the Megatron being bad at the end and going off and kind of being like, what the hell am I doing here? Surrounded by all you guys, F you, Optimus, I'm out. And he leaves. So, yeah. And the Autobots are like, here we go again. Let's go. And they chase him again. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. That's, but, yeah, it's, I don't know. Just the story beats were probably my biggest dislike.
Good enough. How about you, Jeremy? Any major dislikes for you?
There was towards the end, it seemed like they were trying to wrap things up pretty quick, and there were some sections where like the animation would just go to like a single frame, kind of zooming in, just to save money. I'm guessing, but I hate it when shows do that. But
yeah.
That was my biggest complaint. I thought, other than that, I enjoyed a lot of stuff. I mean,
yeah, I think it's most noticeable in that scene when Optimus's arm is coming back. Like it looks almost like stop motion animation. How slow his arm is coming back there.
Yeah, I was thinking more. I think in the fight there was like towards the end there was a couple of things. Like where Robby got the thing out of the AllSpark. But there's one more thing I was going to bring up. I mean, I guess it makes sense for them to go the AllSpark to repair Megatron, but I kind of wish that they had like brought in the Well of Sparks into the play somewhere, and have the Sparkless also be repaired by the AllSpark. I thought that would have been something neat, because you're seeing all these zombies and, they're trying to make everything good, but their lives still suck. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, like, are there any bots alive on Cybertron other than the ones we saw? Like, we have Mirage, the one resistance guy, and then the Decepticons, who, like, the Decepticons just showed up there. So, like, weren't there Autobots and Decepticons still on Cybertron? Or is everyone sparkless except for Mirage and Hot Rod and Liege Maximo?
They're all off screen. Well, I mean, I guess they did the scanner thing in the beginning of the episode, and yeah, there was no one on Cybertron.
Yeah.
Unless they were all powered down because of the draining.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So. Well, I guess that'll take us to the end of Transformers EarthSpark. So those were our thoughts. Just we'll wrap it up here. Maybe if you had thoughts on EarthSpark, did you have any fond memories or dislikes, or have you not been watching it at all and now you're going to go binge the whole series? Go check it out. I definitely think like season 1 was the strongest season for the show, and seasons 2 and 3 dipped a little bit for me, but I did like that they kind of ended with this this additional lore and really focused on Cybertron. So that was nice that they went to Cybertron. And I did like the concept of EarthSpark in general. I mean, I think they could have done a better job of explaining how Megatron like started working with the Autobots, and then also why like the Decepticons didn't like it felt weird to me throughout this show that Megatron is the only Decepticon who converted, and then like if you're the leader of the Decepticons, wouldn't someone still be loyal to you and still like be want to switch sides with you? I mean, I understand like Decepticons. I mean, we've explored this in the IDW comics too, how like, you know, the Decepticon Justice Division was very hurt by Megatron renouncing the Decepticons, but we also had a few Decepticons who just, you know, wanted peace or wanted to just coexist or whatever. We had very little of that in the EarthSpark show. So,
yeah. I mean, we just had it in the Skybound comic too.
Yeah. So I think they could have explored that a little bit more, but I mean I think they wanted to focus on the Terran and the new characters, which I think is valid. I mean, getting new characters into Transformers is always good. I think they created 5 very solid new characters for this show, and maybe those characters will find life in future future iterations of Transformers now. So these Terran characters maybe migrating to other media at some point. But yeah, I mean, I think this, I think overall it was a good kids show. And I mean, in this media environment where kids are no longer watching long form shows or playing with toys, I hope someone enjoyed it. But I mean, it's definitely difficult to hook kids on things like this anymore in the age of TikTok and, instant gratification and everything. So, but I'm old school. I still like the long form storytelling. So, but that's it. That's our thoughts on the last 2 episodes of Transformers EarthSpark. Yeah, like I said, write in, let us know what you thought, and we'll be back for more Transformers discussion this year. I mean, we'll still be doing the Skybound comic reviews, so that'll be picking up again in the new year as we get new Skybound comics, and hopefully we'll be going towards the crossover event. At some point, there's going to be a crossover event in the Skybound comics between Transformers Void Rivals and G.I. Joe, so we will continue to look forward to that. But I think that'll wrap it up here for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Of course, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon. That's why they get a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John Forks Levengood and Steve C. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching and listening. Happy New Year. It's 2026. Enjoy. Hopefully things go better in 2026. Yeah, we'll see. But have fun, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.